You live? Hey, softball fans! How's it going? I'm here in the studio by myself. I'm missing Ches. I wish she were here, appropriately socially distanced from me. But alas, I'm here by myself. But she needs no introduction. We're gonna bring her in. Ches Severs, ladies and gentlemen. We also got Allie Martinez on the call. Um, we're
Hey
all
guys.
here. We've been having some fun lately talking about eligibility, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to continue the conversation today. And man, the number of questions, the number of people showing up on the show has been huge. And I feel like the best thing we can do right now is continue to stay connected with people who are in quarantine right now, searching for answers and looking for clarity in a chaotic situation. And I don't know about you guys, but having constant communication definitely helps the situation when we are by ourselves sometimes. And we brought on a great guest today, Coach Rachel Lawson from the University of Kentucky. Coach Lawson, welcome to Here's the Deal.
I feel kind of honored because you guys are probably one of the few venues where everybody still can connect and stay current and stay involved in the softball world. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're
Yeah,
honored. You're
absolutely.
honored. I feel. I'm like, oh, we got the Kentucky head coach with us. I'm honored. Get out of here. You're honored. We're not that. Ches might be that big of a deal, but the rest of us aren't.
Yeah,
So we're happy to have you.
Sarah, are you fangirling right now?
Maybe. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of it. It's fine. I'm really just excited
well,
to
I know
see a
I
new
am. So
face. Oh shit. We can fangirl over each other. That's fine. Um,
Amazing. So, Coach Lawson, you've talked pretty openly about the implications of the eligibility extension that was granted to Division One schools. Do you still feel that way in terms of where we're at right now, or do you have more certainty going forward in this situation?
well, feelings are one thing, and then you have like how things are going to get implemented. So, I think it's great that people who want to continue to play have the opportunity to continue their eligibility because I think it just such a bummer. Imagine like, all female athletes and actually Olympic sports athletes, most of us already know we're not going to have the opportunity to go on and play in the pros, and so you always are preparing for the next step and you're preparing for it. But when it hits you, it's crazy. And then, I can't tell you how many athletes probably have, some sort of, traumatic stress when they like, it's just such a depression because it's been a part of your whole life. And the way that this just went down is just so unfortunate for so many people, and in some ways, I feel great for the people who wanted to come back, but the part of it that's just so unfortunate is in some ways it's creating a little bit of divide in athletics, and so it really depends where you are with things. There's some schools that just they want to give the eligibility back to the seniors, but quite frankly, they may not have the funds to do so. There's others that have taken a conference stance. So if you're in a conference and they already don't allow for graduate school to be part of their regular conference eligibility standards. Those people are not going to be allowed to come back. So they're entering the transfer portal and stuff. And then what you have is, so you have the emotion of the next season coming back, but then how does that affect the 2021 graduating class of all the people who will be coming in? And in terms of, they all had commitments and stuff. Now, granted, nothing was on the dotted line, so there's some time to fix that. But a lot of them are planning on coming to schools. They pick schools based on that, and then depending what the NCAA does, if this relief for the finances are only good for this particular senior class, what are you going to do with your 21 class that you've already picked up for quite a few schools? So it's just created a little bit of a mess all the way around, and it's created a lot of emotions for seniors because some of them who are on a little bit different academic track maybe had to come back for a fifth year anyway, so it makes a lot of sense for them. but quite a few seniors were planning on graduating in 4 years. They already have grad school set up, they have jobs, they have other things going on. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to come back, and finally you're going to have 24-year-old women playing against 18 and 19-year-old girls. So the level of competition, depending on where you're at, might be a little bit challenging. So it's so great for so many people, but it's such a mess for others. So, it just depends which end, you probably fall on. So I don't know that I have a feeling either way. I just know that it's going to create a bunch of issues for a lot of people.
I'm curious, Coach. You did a great interview with the Lexington Herald leader, and in it you mentioned several kind of issues that I think everybody in this landscape, athletic directors, coaches, students, parents, the whole thing are dealing with. You mentioned scholarships, you mentioned recruiting, you mentioned transfers. I'm wondering if there's one right now particularly that's sticking out to you in terms of like the first thing that you as a coach are having to tackle, or maybe it's just the human element of dealing with seniors who don't know what to do. I'm wondering if there's one particular one right now that's sticking out to you.
For me, the biggest thing was my 4 seniors. What do they do? Because one of the things we pride ourselves on at Kentucky is preparing them for the next step. And so we try to keep them academically on track and to do all those other things. And if grad school at Kentucky wasn't in their future, most of them are prepared to move on. So right now they have to figure out, do they want to put their plans on hold and come back to school for another year to play softball, or do they let it go and they just move on? And there's a whole sort of psychology to that too, because you're like, now the decision's yours. Do I forfeit my eligibility and move on to the next phase of my life? Or, do I come back and just put everything on hold? So, when there's a natural matriculation to things, the decision, unfortunately, is made for you. And for so many softball players, usually their bodies are still able to play, but our eligibility runs out and there's nowhere to go. So that's usually what happens is the decision isn't yours, it's the system's. And now the decision is theirs, which in the end, a decision is a great thing to have, right? So that's awesome. So for me, I'm just, really care about my 4 seniors and making sure that they're comfortable with the decision that they make. Then the next discussion is going to have to be with the other players who are going to have eligibility coming back, because that really will affect the 21 class specifically, because your 20s are already coming in, but the 21s, how many of the people who were supposed to graduate on time now want that extra year of eligibility? Will they slow down their academics, or will they put themselves on track to go to grad school so they get a year, partially get a year of graduate school to get paid for? So for me, those are my first 2 immediate things. But then, for college athletics as a whole, there's articles coming out all the time about how finances are a big situation. So for some of the seniors at some of the schools, they don't even have that option. They might be coming back for half of a semester, but their school's not even allowing that to happen. So they're going to have to enter the transfer portal if they want to play. So imagine playing at a school for 3.5, 4 years, you should be graduating on time, and now all of a sudden you're going to be getting your degree from another school. So I think right now that's probably the biggest issue, and then all the other stuff trickle down. How is every school going to handle the finances of it?
Coach, I'm sure you've been getting phone calls from club coaches and probably some parents and incoming recruits. Do you have one kind of overall message that you're telling them through this process?
I would probably tell them first the same thing that I'm telling my team. The number one priority for my team is to stay together as a team. And that seems so simple, but when you're apart from people for 5 months, we're not used to that, And so in travel ball, if you're the 2020 class and you're no longer playing your high school season, and depending what happens in travel ball, if you end up not having a travel ball season, that's a really long time to be away from the game and to be away from teammates and stuff. And a lot of things can happen in 5 months. So, try to stay connected with your family, try to stay connected with your teammates for the 20s coming in. I want them to stay connected with their high school friends and their travel ball teammates, but they have to find their connection in a hurry to the colleges they're going to if they already don't have it, because you don't want them to slip, because they're not going to be prepared when they come into college. So for the 20s, theirs is more about preparation and being ready, because if they kind of chill for the next 5 months, they're not going to be ready to play, especially against some of the older kids coming back. And then for the 21 class, I'm sure it's very unnerving, but I would just tell them to stay the course and to keep playing softball and to really be good at what you do, to keep working at it, keep your options open, because one of the tendencies with early verbals is that players tend to relax. And so, they could be relaxing academically now because they're not in a school setting. And it's really, it's really hard to self-motivate when you're at your house and doing online learning. So you don't want anyone to fall apart academically, because that not only has eligibility issues, but it also has financial issues, because a lot of these kids might be getting academic money from their schools, but they're only going to get it if they have a high ACT or they have grades. And then finally, let's say they relax and they don't have great athletic skills. Well, what's going to happen is, with all these seniors coming back, if there's no relief, and if you haven't kept up with your skills, you might not end up at the school that you were hoping to end up at. So self-motivation and the ability to stay in shape, eat the right way, do all that right now is key during this time period, or you could be dealing with a mess in the future.
I think that's really good advice for incoming freshmen or incoming athletes. We had our guest last week was encouraging people to stay patient and be proactive, and I think it's kind of the same message from you on that end. Like, control the things that you can control. You can control how academically involved you are. You can control how you're taking care of yourself physically with your softball and doing as much softball as possible. So I think that's a really positive message. I think a lot of parents and athletes and perhaps even more people are getting wrapped up in scenarios that they have no control over. Nobody knows how all this is going to shake out. It could go a million different ways, but controlling what they can control is a really positive message, I think, for anybody right now, honestly, but specifically these student athletes.
I think so. I mean, I think it's also important to get on a routine, and I say that, and routines are not exciting. I know it's super boring, and people talk about mastering the mundane. Well, we have to master the mundane, right? And the people who have the ability to get themselves on a routine will be able to self-motivate a lot quicker. People who do not have a routine are going to be in trouble, because school automatically routines you. So you don't really have to think about it. You don't have to be self-motivated. But people who are not self-motivated might struggle through this time period. The ones who can self-motivate, who have people around them that are inspiring and who can stay the course, they're going to end up fine when all this is over. But people who do not self-motivate might struggle a little bit.
All right, I have one serious question. What quarantine projects have you tackled? What new skills have you developed? This is what the people want to know.
Oh, that's funny. I am the worst. Well, I'm really bad at a lot of things. And, I always knew I was really bad at stuff. But when you're alone in your quarantine, you really realize how terrible you are at things. And one of them, I am the worst cook. I mean, I eat out all the time, and I'm awful. Like, I don't know about expiration dates. I don't know. I didn't know there was like measuring cups that were different for liquid or powder. Like, I have no idea, right? And I'm trying to. The reason I'm trying to learn how to cook is because I want to stay healthy, right? And so, I want to try to do things the right way. But number one, cooking is kind of an art form if you're good at it. And two, even when I follow instructions, people who are healthier don't give like step-by-step instructions on how to do this like you do if you're doing like a box of mac and cheese or whatever. So all the unhealthy food, it is super easy to make, but anything that is healthy, they're like, just mince this or cut. Like, I have to literally Google everything, and it's kind of a disaster, but I'll eat it anyway because I don't want to go to the grocery store too often. So anyway, that's kind of my daily thing to master. It's humbling, I'll tell you. It's very humbling.
You should start cooking too.
You know what? I empathize with you because I'm a terrible cook as well, and it's just been a disaster. Like I burned like a piece of like turkey meat today. I was like, my bread. I was just like, this is a disaster. So I think, Ches, I'm pitching you a content idea right now. I think you get Coach Lawson, you get me. We have a cook-off, and we see who makes the worst food.
Well, I think I was just thinking, I just need to nominate you two for Nailed It.
Yeah, exactly. That's
like
softball edition. Like it's bad. It's very bad. It's very bad. So I'm right there with you.
Next thing we know, both of them are going to go on MasterChef.
Not happening. Ches might. Apparently, Ches learned how to make vegan cheese or something.
You guys are lucky. If we had to survive, I could cook for us.
Ches could do it.
I'm moving out there. I'm gonna drive. That obviously I can't get on a plane, but I'm gonna drive out there because if the world was gonna be survived by me being able to help everybody out, they'd either have to like eat nuts all day, or they would, it would not be.
Hey, at least it's healthy.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Allie, do we have any questions from Facebook at all?
Yeah, we had a good one from Katrina. She asked, is there a time frame from when you'll begin hosting camps again? What should players, mine as a 2023, be doing during as far as recruiting this time?
Well, for me, I don't think there's any rush to 2023s. I don't know how other people feel, but fortunately, last year when they changed the recruiting process quite a bit, there isn't as big of a rush to be seen or be recruited, especially not for the 23 class. I mean, I think the 22 class will be preparing to be seen, but they still have over a year to get recruited. So I feel like the 22s, 23s are in a good shape, and even the 21s, they'll be pushing it a little bit, but they'll be okay too. But as far as the 23s are concerned, I would just stay in shape, and I would hammer down my skills both on defense and offense. And as far as camps, every school is going to be different. My school is shut down through. As of right now, we don't have anything up until January 31st. So I'm not sure that there'll be any camps this summer, but I don't think a 23 has anything to worry about. I think they just need to stay healthy, keep enjoying the game, and then once they can get out there, just, play like crazy.
Awesome. Is that it, Allie?
Yeah, looks like that was the only question.
Okay.
I mean, Coach, you got some fans. Tom had some tickets to OU versus Kentucky that would have been last weekend. He's really disappointed he's not getting your team to play. Cassie loves you. She looks up to you. So, I mean, you got more fangirls and fan guys going on right now in the comments section.
Well, I appreciate that. What's that?
We do have one more question from Laura. So she said, it literally just came in. But she said, do you follow recruits on Twitter? Do you watch their posts? Do you think it hurts a recruit to not have a Twitter account?
The answer is I'm starting to follow, do a better job of following people on Twitter. I'm just now kind of learning how to get on Instagram. I'm just now getting on Facebook. I've never done any of that before. So I think it helps. I don't think it hurts a Twitter account because really all we can see right now is people swinging off a tee and stuff. So I don't think that it hurts that you don't. I do follow people a little bit if they reach out to me, and so that's a good way to get to contact me. But you can easily do that through email and everything else. So I don't think you need a Twitter account. I think just getting your name out there is great. So either email, Twitter. I wouldn't send a letter though because we're not going to get it. But I do think email would be an equally great opportunity to get your name out there.
Important follow-up question. Do you follow FloSoftball on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram? And or do you follow Ches?
Shameless.
Okay, I definitely follow Flo and Ches on Twitter because Twitter, it's something I got a little more familiar with a few years back, which is a great story. But Instagram, I don't follow anybody, so I'm starting to figure that out. But like I talked to them about getting routined, I have to get a routine that has social media in there because I'm so obsessive. If I get into social media, I'm just going to suck right in. So I try to, I try to limit what I do.
Allie, do we have any other good
over that? How you got involved with Twitter question or answer? Can you elaborate a little bit on that story?
Okay, so when, Twitter for me, I like when people are like, "Hey, I went to the mall today. It was great." Like, who cares, right? So like, and I'm a fairly boring person. Like, my life is pretty simple. I don't do a lot of things. I used to work a lot. I don't know what I do anymore, but so it was boring. So I'm like, I have absolutely nothing exciting to say on Twitter. So I didn't have it for the longest time. Well, then all of a sudden somebody became a Twitter imposter, and they were saying they were me, and they were Kentucky softball, and they were like reaching out to recruits and saying stuff that wasn't true. It was bad. So the only recourse for me was to get my own Twitter page, and that's actually how it started. So yeah, there was a Twitter imposter out there, if you can believe that.
Coach, next meal you cook, I want you to live tweet it. That's where it's at. As things burn, you don't know which, just live, like, somebody help me, I don't know which measuring cup to use. Like, I think it's
I think, Sarah, you're onto something there.
right?
I'll tell you that I was shocked. I do not know. There are so many things I do not know that like most of the world knows. It's like crazy to me. So I'm working on it.
Allie, do we have any other good questions on Facebook besides live tweeting and cooking?
We do. So Diana asked, do you think that many programs may pull scholarship offers to incoming freshmen in order to keep things manageable?
Well, you can't pull an offer to an incoming freshman. So that as long as they signed a national letter of intent. So that's the beauty of the NLI, is that it actually protects the student athlete from something like that happen. So I think the 2020 class is completely fine. I think the biggest thing with the 20 class is just to try to figure out how to stay in shape and stay healthy so they're prepared when they get to college. But I think they're more than fine.
Yeah, thank you. I think those are all the questions on Facebook.
Sweet.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, Rachel, thanks so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for thinking of me. I appreciate it. And stay safe and keep having fun with the show. It's a great show.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. See you later.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Wow. She's awesome.
She is. I really think that she and I should cook together, and there should be some kind of...
Yeah, it really needs to happen.
Probably the saltiest food on the planet.
Could you imagine all the salt in my food? And I bet you she doesn't even know how to salt things. She doesn't even know how to season things. So it's like you just put hers and mine together. It's a great idea. It's solid. And then she can live tweet it. I'm doing your job for you, Ches. I'm doing your job for you.
Yeah, this sounds like a terrible cooking show that I'm totally gonna watch.
Our studio guy just in my ear, he's just like, he's down to produce it, so we got it. COVID cooking with Salty Sarah.
Please explain to me, like, what are some of the challenges that you face cooking?
I cannot do more than one thing at a time. Like, I get enormously stressed out. Like, you got your vegetables and you got your meat and then you got your, like, carb. And it's all too overwhelming. And then inevitably something burns and something cooks over. And it's just too much. It's too stressful. It's too much. I can only cook one thing at a time. I can't.
I know for me, I like overcook my chicken all the time. And it makes me so mad. So that's like my main thing that I struggle with when it comes to cooking.
Chicken's a tough one. Pork's a tough one.
They're all tough because I'm also like I cooked and I got food poisoning once, so now I'm like super paranoid. So I just like my meat's like rubber all the time. It's just bad. It is so bad. Like, so when she went to cooking and she's like, I'm a terrible cook. I'm like, I feel for you. I am there with you. I'm here for it. Let's go get a pizza together. Like,
but you would need a gluten-free pizza.
I need a gluten-free pizza, but it's not fun.
Man, wow. Yeah, that was great. So tomorrow, I know you guys won't be on the call, but I'm hosting another Zoom call, and I hope some of you that are watching can hop on. And Allie can put a link up to where you can sign up. Lots of great information. I see some people on here who have been on that call. Allie posted a link to the last call. Lots of great information. especially in a time when it's changing every week. And I hope that you guys can be a part of it because it's a great time when you can just hop on and ask the questions that pertain to your situation, which is why it makes this whole situation complicated, right? Because it is like a case by case basis. One school isn't going to use a waiver, the other one is. They have different talent in each recruiting class. So, yeah, join us. Do
We're
you
here
guys
for
have
you.
anything more? Yeah. A little bit shorter today, but I feel good about it.
I mean, we can talk about my terrible cooking some more, but I don't think the
Oh,
people want
gosh,
that.
no. I think people have had enough of that.
And I don't think the people want that. They want more salt, but they don't want more bad cooking. Oh, see, the producer,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
Caleb's on top of it, man. He's already laying this show out. Like he's got it all laid out. We're making this
Should
happen,
be
folks.
should there be a section where it's like timed and you have to like rush to like make something and whoever comes out with the best
All of
Yeah,
it.
you were thinking like this is like the
All of it.
Chopped show.
yeah.
All of it. Well, stay tuned for COVID cooking with Salty Sarah. That's going to be
Oh
happening.
boy. Yeah.
You're
Sounds
welcome
like
for
a
that.
disaster.
But no, honestly, stay tuned for the Chez show. She's got more guests coming on, another Zoom call. FloSoftball 24/7. We're doing a bunch of rebroadcasts. We have a bunch of old films that you guys can watch. Plenty of softball for you guys to watch. You can watch it on our app. You can watch it online. We're here.
We have. I'm gonna answer a couple questions that I see here.
Yeah, go for it.
Crystal Aiken asked about the comment that Coach Lawson made about how they don't plan to have camps until January 31st, which is also, just so you know, is subject to change depending on when some of these restrictions get lifted. And she asked, does that include recruitment at tournaments if that opens? I think what she meant was basically for the campus of University of Kentucky, those are the parameters that they're putting in place. Now, as far as like the club tournaments and showcases, we're still in a wait and see. As far as I know, it's still a green light until we hear otherwise. So that's what we're going to plan for, unless something changes in a month or so. So I hope that answers your question. So right now, you can't really speculate that those. I mean, you can speculate about those club tournaments, but as of right now, they're planning on going off accordingly. And then Myron J asked if we can get Coach Candrea. We'll see. I put out an email to him, so maybe he'll free up his schedule.
I mean, you know he's watching right now, so we can just ask him, Mike. Can you come on? We're waiting for you. We got a mic for you. He's not watching. Don't worry. He's not watching. He has better things to do than watch us right now. But maybe. Oh my God, it would be amazing to get him on the show.
Yeah, I see Brittany McKinney, help us out with Coach Candrea. Give him a little nudge, like, hey, here's the deal, wants you. Just saying.
I thought you were going to point out Brittany Connors talking about how you can barbecue some chicken.
I can. That is the staple dish for all the travel, for Marionetta in particular. It's Allie's favorite.
Yeah, it's like
what's she's talking about?
Yeah,
Chicken
okay. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Has Sarah had it? I think so. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're
a great cook. Chicken, it was awesome. I'll make it next time.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to have that rubbery chicken.
Any other questions? I don't know if I
don't think so.
No, that's it.
I think that's it. This is a good stopping point.
All right, friends.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. We have a new episode of the Chud Show on the site where I talk with Megan Jo Willis, and I have another episode coming out with Coach Papa from North Carolina, and I've got some more interviews lined up for the coming weeks for the Chud Show, and then hopefully for Here's the Deal. But be sure to sign up for that Zoom call if you haven't been able to get your questions answered. Or you're just like wanting to hang out with some other softball people and talk about softball things.
They all just want to hang out with you, Ches. Sign up so you can hang out with Ches. She's the coolest.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Stay salty.